So all my life, I've been an improv game master, meaning that I'm used to friends knocking at my door at random times during the day or night, say, "Hey, let's play a game," and I'm not prepared. So I had to think on the spot about what adventure we're going to do, characters, what setting I'm going to pick, and so forth. And it could be pretty difficult. I at this point I've learned how to do this. Hopefully, viewers, you can learn from our mistakes. So Pete introduced me to a book called the Adventure Crafter, and I started reading it. There's some really cool things about it that I think game masters, new and old, can experience from this. So Pete, let me ask you this: this book, what did you like best about it? What you've game mastered for a long time yourself?
Mhm.
What is it about this book that called you?
Well, first off, the I guess overall the thing that I like the most is the fact that it basically gives you seeds that you can basically build an adventure upon. I mean, I'm full of ideas. Same as most game masters. If you're a game master, you're full of ideas, but a lot of times you don't know what to do with these ideas, how to run with them, or whatnot. And so sometimes I need just a seed, just something that it'll say to me, that a resource will say to me, and then I can go from there, just kind of run with it. And that's the thing that I like the best about this book. It is full of ideas, and each idea following a different theme, a different tone, action, mystery, personal. You know, that's what I like about this book the most, is that it gives you seeds for each one of those themes, and it allows you to basically change the tone as you're going along, or even maintain the tone. If you're running more of an action game with a lot of tension, kind of like a horror game or something like that, or an action horror. I think of, like, say, Predator. You know, um, um, Adventure Crafter can help you do that. It will give you the action, and it will give you the tension to give you kind of like that action vibe, that action feel for characters that are larger than life, but also that horror vibe. Because you're kind of like taking on this thing, this unstoppable force, the Predator, that is kind of like just basically shrugging off everything you throw at it. And Adventure Crafter is very good for like giving you that kind of vibe.
So this book is 124 pages,
Mm-hmm.
approximately. It's written by Tenna Pigeon and Wordmill Games. Um, I'm not very familiar with them, but there's a book I've been meaning to review by them called the Mythic Game Master Emulator that's been doing well in Drive Through RPG, which is supposed to be a really good help with solo RPGs. Hopefully, I understand that right. I'm gonna look into it. I'll look into it more and make a future video about it once I get it and read it. What are your thoughts about the plot points in this book?
Okay, well, the plot points, like I said, they come up at random on a plot point table, and they're divided by themes. The themes are basically action, personal, mystery, social, and tension. And you can prioritize them at random, basically rolling dice the way that you would say a character, or you can set them up yourself. I do a little bit of both, depending. Sometimes I know exactly what I'm going, what kind of like feel I'm going for, so I know already how I want to organize my themes. And the themes with the most priority are most likely to get rolled are most likely to come up on a roll of 1d10. So, just to explain the themes a little bit, action themes are the ones focused on physical challenges like combat. Personal themes focus on drama related to an individual's character's backstory. And I like this a lot because if you're anything like me, I forget backstory all the time when I'm running adventure. So, actually having something that prompts you with a personal theme, and basically it also gives you, it invokes a character, is what they call it. There's character invoking whenever you're rolling on this table. If you have, say, a character that has uh, an issue where he likes to like stay alone all the time, and that character comes up, then okay, so this character has a thing, doesn't like to cooperate with the rest of the group. I can use this in the adventure. So that's one of the things that I really like about it a lot, is this personal type theme. Then there's mystery, which raises questions for the characters to basically look for answers to your typical puzzles. This thing that you find and you don't quite know what happened here. One time I used it so that people found the PCs found a dead body, but they didn't know who killed this person or even who this person was. But they knew that had something to do with something. You know, that's those are mystery themes. Those are mystery plot lines. Then you have social themes, which basically have to do with your characters interacting with society. I play GURPS. GURPS uses a lot of like reaction roles and stuff like that, and this is good for remembering. Another thing that I often forget is reaction roles. People coming into situations, they may have like some kind of like social disadvantage, like maybe they're like an ex-con or something like that, and so you can look at that and be like, okay, well, this is good. They come into a situation, somebody knows that they're an ex-con, maybe like this is a gang member or something like that, and people from his enemy gang are there, and so now you got to figure that social interaction out. And then finally you have tension themes, which I mentioned before. These are kind of like your horror type themes, the kind of thing that you would see in, say, what comes to my mind is Call of Cthulhu, very Lovecraft type. Those are very high tension themed adventures or stories, and that's what tension plot points give you.
Hmm. So the two things I like about this book, and this is interesting because this book is, it's almost like two ideas that should not work together. Like it's a book of random tables. It's also a book of organization, and usually I don't see books like that work well. But the two things I like about it is that the idea to give you is setting, I guess setting agnostic, if that's the right term.
Yes.
Like, so it could be sci-fi, it could be fantasy, it could be modern, it could be some sort of thing, and it can still help you out. It's not tied to anything. It can help you. It's very plot related than like this person has a weapon, a gun or something. Like, wait, they don't have guns in D&D, so it's nothing like weird or not like that. I like that a lot. Also, I like the sheets that they provide so that you can fill out the information. Because, all right, so I have notebooks here and I write stuff, but I can't read my handwriting. I don't understand. I can't. My organization is terrible. It's like I'm they make fun of doctors with bad handwriting. You would think I'm like a mad scientist if you look at all my all my notes. So I can't, something I can't read. Like, what did I write here? But something like this, if I can make photocopies of it and then organize it, put a spiral thing, print it out for, if I were to get printed out, I would just save this and store it in a much, and that way, if I need to look back at anything, I can just look back and say, oh, okay, I remember this from your character 5 years ago because I've organized my thoughts more coherently.
Right. Well, regarding the randomness with the organization, as I said before, seeds, that's what you're being given here. And you grow them the way that you want them to. Kind of like gardening, you cultivate your plants and stuff, in whatever way, and that's what you're doing here. You don't necessarily have to go in the order that the themes come out, or at least I don't. Maybe I'm using the book wrong, I don't know. But what I basically do is I take what I have, I roll up my plot points and of course my characters that are invoked, and then I look at what I have and I come up with an idea from there. I can even give you an example, as a matter of fact. This is from one adventure that I had wrote that I was like starting to write up. I'll just go into one plot line that I had here. But you see, these are the results that I got for this one. And you have sudden cessation, which is where basically all of a sudden the action stops, So, definitely you want that one for the end or maybe like close to the end because you don't want to start, with the action stopping that people are going to be like, this adventure sucks. And then you have cryptic information from an unknown source. All right. Taking chances. Character steps up. This is what's called a meta trait, which basically meta traits. Sorry, this is what's called a meta plot point. Meta plot points basically are not so much telling you anything specific to the story, but telling you like what to do with the story. In the sense of like, okay, well, character steps up basically means that character becomes a little bit more important to the plot. So on your random character sheet, where you basically your random character list, you will add that character again. Okay, and so when you're trying to invoke a character, what'll happen is you're more likely to run to come up with that character as a result because that character is important. That's what character steps up does. Then you have the last one is immediately, which basically is like something is happening right that second. Okay. Now the way that I put that together was the way that I used that was um, I created a scenario in which the players were going to be going to a dock. This is a modern type adventure. Okay. And they're investigating the murder of someone connected with a patron of theirs, someone that they work for. Okay. So they're investigating this murder. One of the characters there suffers from a disadvantage. Again, this is GURPS, called loner. The loner disadvantage makes it so that a character tends to like just wander off on their own, and because they just prefer to be away from everybody else. So I kind of invoke that disadvantage, which I probably would have forgotten in any other instance, and basically said, okay, so you're in a situation. This character, John Castle, is his name, has wandered off. So right there, it's kind of like a cold open. Already something's happening. The other players are going to realize John Castle's gone. What are we going to do? From there, they go into, and this is also where taking chances kind of like comes up, because John Castle is taking chances. From there, they're suddenly attacked by some mysterious assailants. So I have my encounter set up. That's like your action right there. From there, Castle, who's separated, they tell you not to split the party, but sometimes it happens, right? He bumps into an old enemy, a guy called Brother Osaku. You know, John Castle's like this guy who belonged to like this terrorist organization that kind of like trained him, and he's kind of like gone rogue from them, and now they're hunting him. So this is a very John Castle like central adventure from the very start, and we're gonna get into why this is a good thing. And how the adventure crafter like really helps with that, because I tend to forget about players sometimes, because you have some players that they're kind of quiet, and so like you never really come to them. But like I said, I'll get to that in a little bit. Put a pin in that one. Cryptic information from an unknown source. So John Castle is in this fight, but I'm already intending it so that this is a pretty hefty NPC. This is somebody who like trained him in the martial arts. So this is probably a pretty hefty fight for John Castle. I'm not going to kill him, but this is going to be a tough fight for him. But I'm going to give him help from an NPC that I call what did I call that character? I forget what I called him. I just called him Mystery Man on this sheet here. I did have a name for him. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, okay, he gets help from a Mystery Man, and when the Mystery Man basically comes into the fight, this forces Brother Osaku, this enemy that John Castle is fighting, to flee. At that point, immediately comes into play or actually sudden cessation comes into play, because at that point I have it set up so that regardless of how the fight is going for the other characters, remember how I said that they got jumped in the beginning of the adventure, that fight stops. This is regardless of what went on. The fight is gonna the fight stops. Even if the NPCs, even if the enemies were winning at that point, they leave. Because that's just the way that I have the story set to go. And then from there, the characters will meet up with John Castle. However, I did say cryptic information from an unknown source for John Castle, and the cryptic information that he gets is a message: the eagle has found you. Okay, so that's my first scene, and I rolled that up at random. I took all those random results, and that's what I put together. Is that scene there? Okay, so that's basically how the system works.
Oh, okay. That could have helped me the other day. I was playing a Pathfinder adventure. I was running a Pathfinder adventure, and there were certain scenes where we were talking about backstory. Like the backstory. Some entity was using a character's memories to use against them, and it occurred to me like halfway through, so I was able to improv the memories, but some of these players have brought out backstories for them, and I was concerned at the end, like, oh, I hope I didn't negate a backstory element by
Hmm.
doing this. And if I would have had some sort of notes ready,
Yeah.
something like what this book
Hmm.
offers, perhaps I would have avoided that.
Hmm. Yeah. That's one of the things that I do like about this resource is that it is so like it's not anything necessarily written in stone. Like you can use this in any number of ways, and you can use it to write an entire adventure, or you can just use it to have something on the side just so that you have ideas ready. Players always challenge us with unexpected things, and so just having these things, even if you have like an adventure set up, um, I find that it's a good idea to just have like these random, maybe like B plot type notes, just these little ideas that you jot down just in case, the characters are supposed to go through to that door on the right, but they decide to go to the one on the left, and and all of a sudden you're stuck like, what am I going to do with
Mm.
this? And here we go. You've already got like these things on the adventure craft. You get these things on the sheet that you can look at and be like, okay, we're gonna go this way then. We're gonna go and do this thing. You bump into this mystery man, or you guys get jumped by this person or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good way for it to use it. I feel.
Mm. So we talked about the general gist of this book. Is there anything I left out that we didn't talk about when it comes to this book?
I don't think so necessarily, but I mean, I guess some of the points that I guess I would like to get into is well, we were talking before about the spotlight shifting on characters, and that's something that I wanted to get back to because, like I said, sometimes I have players that don't really people call them audience members or spectators, which I don't know if that's a nice thing to call them necessarily. Some folks just they hang out in the background, but that can make things a little bit boring because people tend to settle into roles and then it's just the same thing over and over again. The adventure crafter, through the character invoking system, the adventure crafter does a thing where basically every character is kind of like spotlighted. I mean, it's done at random, and that makes it so that, okay, so for this adventure, this person is kind of like the spotlight, because they, just the results of the roles just basically made them come up a lot, and so we dealt a lot with their backstory and whatever drama they're dealing with in their lives at that moment. And then the next time somebody else can come into it. And like I said, it just turns into a thing where basically every character kind of like has equal attention. And I find that's just a very good idea, even for characters, even for player characters who don't like or players I should say, who don't speak too much. I find it's a good thing. It kind of like makes them feel seen, and like I said, it kind of like adds a certain flavor to the story that you would not get because you'd most likely forget these things any other way.
Mm. And I played with quiet players, and it's a challenge to
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes there's always like one player among the quiet players where they want all the spotlight, they want all
Mm-hmm.
they're just pushing the adventure along, and
Mm-hmm.
it's good to have something organized so that you don't forget the other players that are involved with the plot in some way. And it's very
Mm-hmm.
easy to forget that. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
it is. I would say another thing is, like I said, there's multiple uses. Random encounter tables is another one. I love using Adventure Crafter for creating random encounter tables. So my theory about random encounter tables is random encounters should drive the plot forward. They should have everything to do with the story. I think that there's an idea that random encounters, that when we say random, we're just gonna like throw anything
mm,
into a situation, and so anything can appear, and yeah, I kind of feel that um yes, that's what random encounters are, but I think also, again, the word that I used before, flavor, you know what I'm saying? I think that random encounters can also flavor a story a certain way and kind of like point you in different directions, And so, again, using the themes and also using the different plot points, I think that can help you create like different random encounters and very interesting random encounters. I brought up before again the encounter where somebody that where somebody bumped or the players found a dead body, and it was somebody that they didn't know. They didn't know who this person was. They don't know who killed this person, but they know, like I said, it has something to do with the story. That came about from me rolling, okay, on the mystery part of the plot line table. And it was actually interesting, seeing my players like see like, hey, like what went on here, and then trying to understand like, you know, okay, somebody's here trying to silence people and stuff like that. It kind of like it added like more stakes to the game,
Mm.
kind of, and drove the plot along in that way. And so I think that, if you're a person that has trouble with making random encounters, or if your random encounters are just the same thing over and over again, this is a good way to make random encounters, you know.
Mm.
Um and I think that's it. That's all I have.
All right, excellent. So
Mhm.
again, the Adventure Crafter, I don't think it's available at um, local gaming stores. I'm not sure about that, but I know for sure you could pick up a copy at Drive to RPG, and I'll put a link in the description below if
Mhm.
anyone wants to check it out some more. So viewers, thank you for checking out our discussion. Be safe out there. We'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.